speaker. So, Kim. There she is. Great. Well, join me in welcoming Kim. Staying close, so don't fuss at me like this.
All right, I'm gonna need this because as a perfectionist, I was rewriting this before I came. So I used to work at this place where employees would post quotes up on the wall. And one day, there was one quote that actually stood out to me in particular, and that was, "Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results." And I started to ponder this quote, and I realized that this best described my life. So I knew that I needed to make big changes. So when I do this, it just goes different places. Okay, so, so I am a single mom of a 17-year-old. I am a homeowner, pet owner, and I'm self-employed. And with all that comes a lot of stress and responsibility. So chronic stress was starting to affect my body in a real way. And I was starting to see that, and physically, you know, it was my job is physical, so I need my body in order to perform what I need to do. So I need my phone. Okay. So, like I said, so in my world, I really needed everything to run perfectly.
Right.
Imagine that. Yeah, I couldn't get hurt. I couldn't get sick. I couldn't get snowed in. I mean, I really needed everything to run perfectly. I couldn't live like that anymore. So I knew that money was my biggest stress, so I decided to start with money. That's where my money story started. And having a lot of high interest credit card debt, I figured I should start with a loan. So I contacted the bank and tried to get a low interest loan so that I could pay off some of this debt. Well, I was turned down. And I was someone that always paid everything on time, never missed a payment. I was pissed. I couldn't understand it. And then I thought, what don't I know about my credit score? So that's when I started asking questions. And that's when I thought, you know, maybe I should contact OnTrack, because I reached out to them in 2018 just because I knew that they were there to help people, and I wanted to see what their resources were. And so this time, I contacted them again, and they connected me with Keely. And she's here tonight somewhere. Woo! Keely. So Keely was kind and informative. She was also listened and without judgment. And that was rare, and I really appreciated that. So we looked at all of our options, and the option I thought was best for me was the North Carolina Foreclosure Fund. I hadn't missed a payment, it's nothing like that, but that program would give me the time I needed in order to prepare and something. It just gave me the time to do what I needed to do and the resources that I needed. So that's what we did, and then, I started looking at the bigger picture, and I knew that I was in a vicious cycle and nothing was going to change. So then we did that. We did the North Carolina Foreclosure Fund, and in that program, there was requirements. And one of those requirements was the money management class. So I took this money management class, and with that came goals. We had to set goals, and we had action steps. And I realized that I loved being held accountable. I really loved setting goals. I loved learning. I loved strategizing. And a lot of these classes were like so creative. Like we were doing like drawing and visualizations, and it was just really unexpectedly powerful. So after that, I decided that I was going to do everything possible to better my life and my future. So then I looked into the Habitat for Humanity repair program, and that definitely I applied, and I was accepted, which was great. And that was like, now I was on my way to like sanity, basically. And Then after that, I mean, and also during the classes, that's when the secure fund came up, and that was like a no-brainer. I mean, they matched your funds, and now I have a savings account. So when I was at the Leaf Festival this year, and my massage tent blew away, and I lost a $600 day, I knew I had savings. Before, I never had that. So I was really grateful for that. And so I continued to take classes, and the more informed I got, the more empowered I got. And I just think that, in general, the statistics are that women just don't have as much control over their money. They don't get paid as much. They don't save as much. And their loans are at a higher interest rate. So it's really, power is really the knowledge. So the more you can learn, the more you're informed, the more empowered you get. So I'm continuing on that path, doing what I can. And I have to say, it's really in the action steps. I mean, that's where you get the results, and that's where you get the change. And the rewards, they're there. So now I'm wearing these boots that I've always wanted and dreamed of, and not just wanted, but maybe even needed. But you know, now maybe you can go out and buy these boots without guilt or shame, but because you actually deserve to walk in them. A lot of stuff, but it's in here somewhere.